I'm focused. I've been watching for the omens. I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it. Yeah, I've only just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the liar. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. I've been waiting for this moment.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Saturday. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm all right, man. What about you?
You are? I am living the dream, my friend. Living the dream.
That was a dream to live.
Ah, man, the button's busted again. What the heck? Thought I had everything figured out. All right. I am Adam,
And I'm Patrick.
and we are Guy in a Cube. Thank you, everyone, for showing up this wonderful day. Hopefully, you are all doing well and staying healthy. It was a week, Patrick. It was a week.
Definitely a week.
You made it back home safely, I see.
I did.
It's good.
I did.
It's good.
I did.
Family's good.
All in one piece. All in one piece.
Yeah. All right. All right. Good deal. All right. So, first off, thank you for all of the members of Guy in a Cube. We greatly appreciate your support. It helps us do what we do here, and just can't say enough of how much we appreciate it. So, we have a ton of members, and it's always fun to see the engagement that we get from those, and we love it. So, thank you so much. And VJ, thank you for the super chat. I reworked the notifications there, so hopefully they're not as annoying as they were last week. So hopefully that is good. And then real quick, people always ask for the setup that we do here on Guy in a Cube. And so this is the setup that I have for the stream. Brent Ozar refers to it as the bananas setup. And then Patrick's setup is not as complex, but still awesome. And it is what we've got going on. It is a setup. And I'm actually going to be hooking Patrick up with some more gear here in a little bit. He wants to change up his microphone setup a little bit. Do you remember we talked about that? You were going to.
Does that mean I have to spend more money?
Yeah, you were going to give me your wallet, and we were going to have fun.
Oh. Okay.
All right. So,
Okay.
Oh man, the chat is bananas again. Awesome. Love it. So in the chat, if you are new to Guy in a Cube, either just new in general, never seen us at all before, or this is your first time on the live stream, put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing that as well. So it's good to get that going. And then also from a question perspective, please prefix your question with a Q colon. That helps us get it queued up. My wife is on standby watching the stream, hopefully. I haven't seen her queuing up yet, but hopefully she's there. And if you please do not repeat the question because we get it queued up. And then if you do spam it, we will put you in timeout. We had to do that last week, so it will happen. So, all right, we see a few new folks there. We got Alexis, we got Khalid, AI, Thomas's Stone Age, Amid is old. Got James, Bradford, yeah, back from hiatus. Good to see you, Bradford. Oh wow, good.
Yeah.
No excuses for Bradford said no excuses for bad audio. Patrick, that was.
Thank you so much.
That is.
It's not a sale. She's my T-shirt.
Oh,
Thank you.
someone liked your T-shirt. Oh,
Yeah.
Alex did. Alex liked it. Yep. I didn't even notice your shirt. I'm gonna say. That's.
Yeah.
No, I do
It is
like
a
it.
nice
It's a good
shirt.
Marvel shirt.
It is a nice shirt. Yeah.
I've got Got my Goonies shirt on, so.
You're old school, man. You went old school.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I watched that movie when I was up in Chicago.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I love the Goonies. I don't know if you've been checking out the Josh Gad. He's doing the oh my god, I can't remember the name, but he's doing the videos on YouTube where he brings back all the Reunited Apart. Those are awesome. I love it. Ghostbusters was the last one, and then Ferris Bueller Day Off, I think, is on the 28th, so definitely check that out. All right, let's get into the questions. And I don't know what's going on here. Crystal, are you in the chat? Say something in the chat if you're in there, because I don't think you are, which means I'm gonna have to do these. So, my coffee is right here. So, or is it coffee? So,
Or is it
all right,
coffee?
Crystal's there. Excellent.
Adam, can we start? Speaking of Amit, can we start with Amit? Amit had a question from last week. That was pretty cool.
Is this the export question?
No, this was the how do you do last 12 months, but ignoring the year. Remember the DAX I talked about?
Okay. So it's not something that's currently queued. You're just reviving something from last week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago, because you weren't here last week.
I was here. I just wasn't
that's right. You were here.
I was on the chat. I was chatting with people.
I didn't
and
see
got
you on the
scolded.
video, and so
I got scolded after the chat by the chat master, Crystal.
She did scold you a little bit.
I will not make these mistakes anymore, chat master. You don't have to worry about that anymore.
All right.
But it was an interesting question that he posed, and unfortunately, I don't have the. Oh yes, I do. I have the question. I
can't put anything on the screen unless you've got it.
Don't put anything. Don't put anything.
I know. I see what you're doing. You got your email up.
And so the question that he asks was how to get year-to-date for the last 12 months from selected date. And if there is no selection of the date, then it should show the last 12-month year-to-date from the current date, right? And this is when Marco was on, and we didn't get to it. And I chatted with Marco, and I was so excited, and Adam knows I was, because I sent the DAX I wrote off to Marco, and he had one little suggestion, which is definitely. But besides that, he was like, nah, not bad. Not bad, Patrick. And I was like, that's what I do, man. That's what I do. I write DAX. And so I want to show you the solution that we came up with. And so if you can share my screen.
You ready?
I won't walk the. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
It
is Marco approved, James Taylor. So, Adam, do I need to increase the font any, or is this good? A little bit. Tell me when. All
right, that's good. That's good.
All right. And so basically, you can do year-to-date functions inside of Power BI, but they reset after each year, or each month or each quarter, or, things like that. And what he wanted to do was go past the year. And so I wrote a couple of variables. And so this is one of the things that Marco said change, and I didn't change it, right? Change that to max. So this will give me my max date. And don't worry about that. And basically and then the challenge though was to say, if they have a date, right? If calendar is filtered, give me the last date. Otherwise, do it from today. And so that was something that, what's his name? Amit had a question about. And then all I did was subtract it from the year. And then basically this is where the challenge came for me. So I'm summing up, right, my sales. But the challenge was, do you use dates and period or dates between? If you use dates and period, and I was just doing this over in DAX Studio, if you use dates and period, what you'll notice is that it'll go all the way back to
you need to up that font,
end
buddy.
of the. All right, thanks.
Or zoom or something. Whoa.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I just noticed it does the results at the same time as the.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
SQL Management Studio doesn't do that.
It does not do that.
No,
it does not do that. And so if you run this query, it goes all the way back to the beginning of the period. And that's not what I really want, because if you look at the maximum date in my calendar, it's the 13th. So I want to stop at the 13th, right? And so that way, if you use dates between, you can go to specific dates. And so I modified it up just a little bit to go dates between. And that's how I did it. And it works.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Nice.
how it works, right?
Good job.
So put this.
So Amit,
All right,
quickly
that's it.
grab a screenshot and
Yeah, let's put it back to this. Here you go. Amit, grab a screenshot of that, and that should work for you. Okay, go ahead. Sorry
All right.
to hijack it,
You
but I thought
ready?
it was pretty cool.
all right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So that's how we roll. Patrick didn't even give me a heads up on that. He just threw it out there. All right. All right, let's go into yes, and so it was Crystal's birthday this last Wednesday. So happy birthday, Crystal. If you guys
Happy
want to wish her happy
birthday.
birthday in the chat, she would appreciate that. She's amazing.
My picture? It says
Patrick
your
didn't
picture.
Patrick didn't text.
No.
Patrick
Adam,
didn't
your
text
screen is
Crystal.
blurry. You're out of focus.
Oh.
Somebody's saying I'm blurry, but I don't.
You're
think
not
I'm
blurry. You are not blurry.
Okay.
You're not blurry. I was blurry. I've got a GH5. It gets a little wonky. So, but yeah, it was happy birthday, Crystal. So very.
Happy birthday
birthday.
to you. Happy birthday to you.
That's enough.
Okay, let's go.
All right, first question from ComInfo. How a company can go about engaging us to provide consulting services on an as-needed basis. I'll let you take this, Patrick.
We kind of don't do consulting.
We don't do.
We don't have
consulting.
time.
We do
just
not
don't
have time.
right now, guys.
We do not have time.
Training, different story. Consulting, consulting
Yeah.
is a challenge.
So we've got.
But if
yeah, go
we
ahead.
got some good people. There's great people.
Yeah, we
right,
can make
in the
recommendations.
community. We can make some recommendations if you're interested. So
Yeah. So appreciate the question, ComInfo.
somebody said expand your team.
Expand your team. Yes. Yeah. So, yes. All right. Alex has a question here. Is there any way to manage a Salesforce objects data when connecting rather than just having to import everything? We have millions of rows of data and it's super slow. So from a Salesforce perspective, it's going to be going over an API. And so those APIs, I mean, it's dependent on how fast you can query those. I doubt that there's a direct query option there. So the only other option you would have is if you staged it somewhere like in a SQL server first and then hit that. So have some sort of ETL process. And there's not really a good way to get around that. So. All right, Data Train, welcome. It's better late than never, I say. All right, Bala's got one. Is there any video made for report server configuration in mobile app using Azure AD? Ooh. So I did. This is the OAuth configuration.
You did that a while ago.
I did a video a long time ago. At the time that I did it, the mobile app piece did not work. The mobile, it worked with, I don't remember, it was specific for mobile, but there was an issue I had going against a report server. Like it worked for paginated reports, but it wouldn't work for Power BI reports. And I believe they fixed that recently, but I haven't gone back through it. And I don't know of anyone else that's done anything on that. It does involve Kerberos, which I love. So, it's like Kerberos. It just works.
No, it does not.
That's right.
No, it does
That's
not.
right. It
No,
does.
it does not. No, it does not.
So the doc that's in Power BI Docs did get updated to do that. So check it out, see if that helps you. So hopefully I did remove the old video I had just because it's a little outdated now. So, all right. Kaima, maybe? Please, I have a question about create hierarchy analysis services with Power BI. I tried the hierarchy slicer, but I have a problem. I can't select one level. Wasn't there an issue with the hierarchy slicer and analysis services? We're calling something
The
there.
custom visual? Are you talking about the custom visual or the native?
It's in the product now. So.
Oh, that's right. They added the.
Yeah.
I think she's talking about if you create a hierarchy. You know how if you create a hierarchy, you just can't say select quarter. It'll select year. It'll select all the way down. Then you have to unselect. I'm not sure. I'm guessing. Let me create a hierarchy.
It's specific about the hierarchy slicer. So, all right, Patrick's gonna. We may come back to that. Patrick's gonna give it a try. Or let me know in the chat. Do you want to actually see him do this live, or do we want to come back to it? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Patrick is the demo master.
Let's see.
Crafter says has. Oh, all right. James says live. All right, let's go. Let's go to Patrick's desktop. You ready?
Why would we do that?
All right. Your desktop's up, buddy.
All right. So I'm creating a hierarchy.
Let's make Patrick sweat a little.
I'm creating a hierarchy, and I love this new. Remember, I did the video on this. This is so awesome, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll just create a simple little hierarchy: month, year, date, right? So year, month, date. So we created our hierarchy, and then we'll go back to our report. I don't know why I added a new page, but like if I wanted to just get month, right? If I just want to get month, if I select this, see how it selects year also?
Yep.
All right, and so if I go to a slicer here, and so I'm not quite sure what a question is, but
What's the hierarchy
and then if you
slicer?
just
Not a regular
so here's
slicer.
so you want the custom visual.
No. Oh, is it built into
Yeah,
the
so
regular
there's
slicer? I haven't played with it. So.
Yeah, so we got hierarchies in that baby now. We got hierarchies in that baby. So I'm not. So what does she mean a single? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I can select single items now in it, and then I can uncheck.
Yeah, so Bradford's saying in the field well, it says year and
Yeah.
No, no,
that's what-
no. In the
Okay.
field, go to the left, Not
Right here.
yes. Can you get rid of year?
Yeah. Bink. There you go.
Right, and then you've just got the month. Right,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Like, just remove
There you
the
go.
item
You did.
if you want it. So, okay.
There you go.
Hopefully that helps.
Yep.
All right. Good deal. Let's do that.
Thanks, James.
What'd James say? Good job, Patrick.
Good job, Patrick.
Good job. All right, Chris McKay made it to the stream. What's the most efficient, fast way to dynamically expand columns after function, changing new columns, especially in data flows? I get Stack Overflow with some methods that work in the desktop. So if you're getting a Stack Overflow, chances are that there's something, like there's some limits on the data flow side
Yeah.
that it's not liking.
only
So
thing I could think
there's some sort of maybe a recursion of some kind or something. I mean, I'd have to debug it. I'd have to go through and see what it's doing. I don't know what the function's doing. I don't know, like, is the function getting called like in a loop of some kind? Because that could potentially end up in a Stack Overflow. Are you doing something in the function that's looping? That could cause a Stack Overflow. The fact that it works in desktop, but it doesn't in data flows, so that there's just something on the service side that's causing us to have problems here. I can't think of anything past that.
I don't
So,
know. I don't know.
all right. Sorry, Chris. I don't know that was helpful. All right. What?
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, so Chris added that the recursion thing might be it. It's possible. Typically with Stack Overflow, there's usually when I've hit that in the past, like when I've been developing stuff, it's been some sort of like looping of some kind. And when you're looping, it's going into another function and like it just kind of gets in this cycle and the stack just blows out. So that's like a typical developer thing where that can happen. So, all right. I feel better now. All right, Martin. Good afternoon from the Netherlands. Oh, love the Netherlands. I think
Yes.
I think I've said it before. I think the Netherlands is the country I've been to the most in my travels. So love going there, and I was happy I got the family over there too. It's my birthday today. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
So hoping to get a question in the next week as a gift. My question is one big data model still recommended once we get composite models? This is an area that Patrick is very passionate about.
I would say you start with a single data model, right? Depending on the questions that you're trying to answer, depending on the reports that I hate to keep saying dependent, but it completely depends, you know? If you can answer all your questions from a single data model, I say go with a single data model. If you have isolated questions where it doesn't require too much correlation, and then you can use composite models later, maybe, but I always start with one data model to rule them all, because now we could potentially start maintaining logic across multiple data models, maintaining data, so we have a data silo across multiple data models, things like that, always with the single data model. If that data model just grows and it's unmanageable, maybe you start thinking about splitting it into subject areas, but I still say, even with composite models, go with one data model.
Well,
That's a Patrick opinion, right? That's a
the
Patrick opinion.
upcoming composite model changes where we can mix with live connections,
Yeah.
excuse me, that offers an interesting opportunity. And I was talking to someone about this as well, where they could end up having like, look, we've got our HR data model, we've got our sales data model, we've got our logistics data model, and they are segmented, but we can bring them into one report. The thing I would be cautious about that, if they're all really large models, you're going to want to check to see how that's actually going to work. It sounds good theoretically, but once we start relating between those, I don't know what that performance is going to look like. It's too early. It's not out yet. No one's tested it. So
But just be
that's an
careful.
option.
Be careful.
Yeah. Just all things. I did this, I think it was yesterday with Patrick. I'm going to harness my inner Ronald Reagan, trust but verify.
Oh,
Trust but verify. So
Trust but verify.
So if it's a smaller model, though, absolutely, like, you can have one. And so the other factors that come into play here is like, what's the refresh time look like? What's what's the memory? What's the cost of hosting that model, right? So
Adam and our team, because I really reached out to just about everybody on our team. I just went through a really good exercise with a very large customer with a very large data model. And one of the things that did come up was splitting it out. And after going through, we did some exercises going through, optimizing the size of the database, little steps that we've talked about in all of our videos, optimizing the performance, optimizing the report itself. And it all came back to, we're not going to split this. We're going to have one single data model because it's all in memory. And if you do it properly, why do you need two data models?
Yeah.
So,
yep. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'll talk about it for hours, so I'm going to stop.
I know. All right, Amit. Export underlying data option in Power BI service. The export file contains columns which are used to create the matrix visual with all text type columns only. Gotta get numeric columns as well. Not sure I understand. So if we're doing export data from a report, so we're getting a CSV or Excel? Is that what you're doing?
Used to create the matrix
File contains columns which are used to create the matrix visual with all text type columns only.
I don't know what that means. Admit you stumped me.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Excel and you're saying the Excel output, it's got the text format. That's just how it's exporting the Excel. It's not basing it on the data type per se. So you'd have to change it manually. I don't know what the scenario is that you're doing, and I don't know like what problem is that introducing for you. I don't know what you're trying to do there.
It says it exports only the text column. I don't know what that means.
It's not. Interesting. I don't know. So, do you have a matrix up and ready, Patrick?
Yeah, I can make one.
See what it does. All right, let's try it. Let's try it.
Go.
Let's try it. Going over to your machine.
All right. There you go. Right.
Like subcategory and sales in there and just see what it does.
Here. Sales amount. And then what do you want to put on the? You want to put some on the columns?
I mean, you've got a numeric. Yeah, put a. I don't know what you have in there.
Color.
Sure.
And then what do you want to do? Export it?
Well, but all you have is numeric columns. You don't have a text column at all.
You want something else?
Something that's text. You can validate that only text is going and not numbers.
All right.
Ooh.
That's even numbers. That's a key. Hang on.
Yeah,
Let's put a product name. That's going to be bananas.
Ooh, that's gonna be.
Yeah.
Remove
Let's
color
just go
from
down.
the columns. Oh wait, no, you've got. Wait, so it's still gonna do the numerics there. You gotta have it in the values.
Yeah.
You gotta have text in the values.
Well,
I don't know that you can.
how do I put? You can't do that, right? It's gonna do the first.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm not sure what you're doing, Amit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Export underlying data. So if I do export, right, there's my CSV.
Yeah, but you gotta do it in the service.
Oh,
Yeah. Here, hang on.
I'm not sure.
Hang on.
I'm not sure what he
Hang
should
on.
do.
All right, let's do this. I got it.
Okay, knock yourself out because I'm not sure.
All right, let's go over to mine.
Yeah, do.
Let's go. Enterworks. All right, here we go. Export data. I can't do underlying data. I don't have permissions. My administrator didn't give me permissions. All right, maybe I can't show it. That's bonk.
What workspace are you in?
My app navigation demo. I've got.
I'm not sure, man.
I don't know what we
You
got
have to
here.
set it in the PBIX. No, you could set it in the service too.
I don't have access to the underlying data. I don't know. All right. Let me try one more, and then we'll move on. Almost done. Enable underlying in PBIX.
Yeah, but there's a way to set it in the service.
All right. Try it.
I need to write this down. I'll go rewatch this.
Oh, there we go. Hey, look at that.
Yeah.
There we go. Look at Patrick. Good job, Patrick. Yeah, there we go. All right. Export. I don't.
There's numbers. Okay.
I got numbers. I got numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what you're hitting,
Exports
Amit.
the data.
I don't know what you're hitting. All right. It's not
not
exporting
export
underlying. Oh,
He wants the detailed data.
yeah.
It's only gonna. It's gonna
Well,
export
but I
what
did.
you see.
I chose underlying data.
But I think it's summarized, right? Our data was
No.
summarized in our report.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't
don't
see
know.
I didn't see which one you were doing.
Amit, I'll play with it later and see if there's something going on. Then I don't know. Outside of that, I would say unless someone else has an idea, I don't know if someone mentioned in the chat, you can try. May have to open up a support ticket. Maybe a limitation. I'm not sure. I don't have it. Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What's
got
up?
it. I got it. I see. I see what
Oh,
I see what
Eric,
he's talking about.
thank you for becoming a member.
I see what he's talking about.
What's he talking about?
Okay. I see the scenario.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I got it.
All right. Cool. All right. Alex has got a question.
Yeah. I got it. Mike's in. He wants to see the underlying rows. I got it. I got it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at that. Keep going.
So Alex says, why can't we set up a dataset refresh against Power BI Service XMLA endpoints? So I thought with the XMLA endpoint we could do processing.
But wait, what did he say? Why can't we
So
set up
can't set up a
data
dataset refresh using XMLA endpoint. So I thought you can issue a processing statement on XMLA.
But
Alex, have you tried doing the processing statement for XMLA? You're saying it's not working?
why can't you set up a data set? Well, I think he's saying,
What's he saying? Yeah, just saying you can. So he's saying I want to query the DMVs.
yeah, just connect to the DMV.
Okay. Well,
Just connect.
from a Power BI Premium perspective, I don't know if the DMVs are enabled.
So, a few of
but
them
what
are.
is-
So I know some.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the? You said that you want to schedule data. You want to do data refresh. You can do that with the processing. I don't know why the XMLA, or I don't know what the DMVs have to do with that. So, oh, Alex Dupree's saying, he says we're using XMLA as a data source. Okay, so if you're using XMLA as a data source, you're doing import?
They're importing from the desktop. I mean, from the data set.
And you can't do schedule refresh on that. So I guess the scenario is we're doing XMLA. We're doing XMLA on the DMVs.
I'm going to import from the DMVs.
But if you're importing, then we want to do schedule refresh. You should be able
Yeah,
to. I mean, if it's imported, is it giving you an error? Or is
So-
it?
Okay, so schedule. Hang on, let's write it down. I'm writing these down, man. Schedule refresh of XMLA endpoint from DMV.
Alex, does
Got
it give you an error?
Right.
Or is it saying like this data source isn't supported for schedule refresh? Or
I'm writing these down. Got it.
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
Yep.
So-
I see what he wants. He wants
Yeah.
to like. So yeah. So
All
he
right.
wants to
All
have.
right, he's gonna
I
follow
can
up
just-
offline. All right.
Yeah. I wrote it down. Though. I'm gonna try it. Okay. Good one. Yep.
Cool.
I think this is what Casper. Remember, Casper was talking about this a little bit. What if you did this and then imported your DMV and had it all in one, and somebody's saying the refresh wouldn't work? Anyway, we'll talk about it later. Yeah.
Okay. Apparently, this live stream's theme is Stump the Chump. Just saying.
Twice.
Capil. Which I like. That challenges us. That's how I learn. How can I make incremental refresh for reports on Power BI report server? We use import query method, and every time the report is really slow on schedule refresh with new data. Yeah, report server does not support incremental refresh, so that's not going to work. You'd have to go to the service for that. That or host your model in a local analysis services instance, and then connect your report server items to that, and then you could do incremental refresh or partitions on that front. So if your data set's hosted, if you're doing import and it's hosted inside of report server, there is no incremental refresh. Did I double hit that? No. Okay, cool. All right. Will has got a question on deployment pipelines. He actually sent me a video question. Unfortunately, he sent that about 20 minutes before the live stream, or almost a half hour, and I need more time to get that hooked up. So depending on if we answer it now, we may have it next week. Deployment pipelines and data flows. How should we be managing those between workspaces? So deployment pipelines, I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying that. Deployment pipelines today do not support data flows. So you would have to manually create those data flows and get them staged, or host the data flow in a separate workspace altogether that is just pulling from those. So just have them outside of the deployment pipeline workspaces in like a central location, and then grab that. What are you laughing at?
Deployment pipeline.
Deployment. I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying that. So the data flows are not part of that experience. It's only reports, dashboards, and data sets. And then the data flows are external to that. So I don't know if it makes sense. So you may have a scenario with the data flows where you have a true dev test and production data flow, because the data is going to be different. You would have to manage those independently of the deployment pipelines. God, I cannot. I'm just going to say DP. Whew. All right. Good question, Will. And as far as I know on the data flows, I know that they're looking to improve that over time. So hopefully it'll come at some point. It's just not there today. All right, Thomas. Good old Thomas has got a question. What do you think about Kimball? Love it. Absolutely, 100%. So star schemas all the way. Data warehousing.
Power BI likes a star schema.
Yep. Also, in addition to Kimball's books, I also recommend this book for star schemas. It's a good book. Complete reference. Star schema. It's a good book. So get that focus again. Don't like the autofocus on the GH5, Patrick. Okay.
It's your camera.
It's your camera too, but you don't have autofocus on.
That's right.
All right, Michael. Michael's got a question here. Where's my thing? Oh, there it is. My fidget spinner. Michael, do you think the Power BI ecosystem combined with Azure Synapse will change or enhance data warehousing approaches like Kimball or Imam? Could it be that features of today are unlocking new approaches? It's interesting. Synapse is an interesting approach, and it's going to open up certain scenarios, especially for large data sets, like really, really large. I mean, at the end of the day, when we look at Synapse as a data source, I mean, really, you're connecting to a SQL server, right? So the thing that's interesting there, though, are the materialized views, as well as some of the stuff that that Power BI is working on in terms of like the auto generation of those materialized views based on query patterns and things of that nature. So it's an interesting scenario, and it's going to be interesting to see where that goes from large data scale. I don't know that it changes in terms of the approach from like Kimball and stuff like that. I mean, that stuff still applies.
I think it'll complement it. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be in addition to, because I still think you'll need some structure of a data warehouse. But
you absolutely do. You still need a star schema, right? Yeah. You still need the star schema. But the thing that Synapse is bringing to the table, again, is that large scale, right? So now we can do the partitioning on given aspects of the data. So it's all about just how can we get the batch processing to be really, really fast over massive amount of data, and then having materialized views to help with that output, right? So there's all sorts of things there that help absolutely complement it, but you still need that good structure. So, and we've seen this time and time again. If your data model sucks or your data layout sucks, there's only so much that can be done to help that. So, yeah. Cool. All right.
That's a good conversation.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Kendall, is there another way of importing data from an Access database? Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. An Access database into Power BI when you don't have a direct connection. Power BI's got to be able to connect to the data source. I don't care if it's Access or whatever. That's what a gateway's for. So you can absolutely refresh an Access database through a gateway. So the question is, could the gateway get access to the data source? Those are your only options. Either Power BI is going to be able to connect to it directly, or you're going to use the gateway to act as the proxy for that. So, but we got to be able to connect to the database to refresh it. Wait, from importing the data. So that's in Power BI Desktop. Power BI Desktop's got to be able to connect to that data source. You can't go through a gateway for that. So that would only help you with refresh. So if your Power BI Desktop cannot connect to Access, all right, Patrick's excited. I'm seeing him working on stuff. So yes, Kendall, Power BI Desktop's got to be able to connect to that data source. All right. Thomas, yeah, Access is a desktop database, but I know there's things like, SharePoint enabled certain things, and then you could have it as from that aspect. So I don't know what's going on there. All right, Patrick, you're excited. Should I?
Because I was, me.
I know you're tinkering.
I get stuck on these things, and I was stuck on the underlying data. So I went in the Power BI Desktop, and
should I switch over?
Can you? Yeah, just switch over. So I went into the desktop and I created this little, I think you had a bar chart. So I just created a table with the
Can't see
colors
that.
and my total sales.
Zoom in. Zoom in.
Yeah, no worries.
You're not running.
So I created a little table,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Can you see it? Can you
I
see
can.
it?
Yeah, it looks good. It's beautiful.
Right?
It's a
And
beautiful
it's
table.
aggregated, right? It's aggregated at these
Sure.
levels.
Yeah.
And before I published it, right, I went to my options here, just like you did in the service.
Yeah.
Just like you did in the service. I just did it in my desktop. And down on report settings, I changed the export data option
Yep.
so that I can allow both summarize and underline data, right? And then I published it up. And when I published it up, I said download, export, and you'll see, if you look at these options, see it adds this little guy right here, right? And it says, hey, this is only supported with Excel.
Right.
Right? And so I did the export, and there's all my underlying data.
Yeah. So he's saying with a matrix.
All right, so let's try a matrix, right? So let's go into edit, and so this will be good if it doesn't work, So let's just change this to a matrix. Bam, it's a matrix now, right? And say export data. Let's see what happens. Underlying data. I get the same warning.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say export. It's exporting my data.
It is.
And it's taking a bit to export this data, because if it was just the summarized data, that should happen pretty quick. But this is all the underlying data. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open when done. And let's see what I get. Looks like the underlying data to me. This is all the underlying data.
Yeah.
You can see all that. Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
There's my customer keys. You can see there's.
So Amit is saying his tenants in the EU. I don't think that matters.
Oh.
I don't know why that would matter.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, Amit.
All right. So Amit says
it
it's
is
working
working.
for us. So if it is working for us, and so that means it should work. So if it's not working for you, open a support ticket. So.
Yeah.
All right, which reminds me also, so let me go back. I know Jessica's in the audience. I totally forgot. I have it queued up, but I totally forgot. So Jessica actually sent in a question. We need some help, chat, because I did not have a good answer. And I do have two things I want to call out from this. So better late than never. Sorry, Jessica.
Yeah.
All right, so she had a question. So she said, I have a report that I have connecting to an internal CRM system, and they keep getting the apply changes message inside of Power BI desktop. And she's done a bunch of things that she lists here in terms of things she's tried. She's tried doing the apply changes. She tried kicking it all over to import. It was mixed at one point. It's not helping at all. And so
I had this.
you did. Okay.
I had this before, and it was on when I was creating the template for the COVID project. And when I did a template and it would load, it would still always come back and say, hey, I need to load some more. I need to apply changes again. And I had to go into the query editor. Let me think about it. Jessica, let me think about this. I have you in my email box. When I think of the answer, I will send it to you. I know what it is. I'll think of this before we're done with this live stream. Let me think about it, Adam.
Okay. So two things I wanted to call out there, though. One is, so one thing I mentioned, I was like, look, off the top of my head, I didn't know. And so it may be something also where you need to open up a support ticket. So those are things where even like questions that we get, if it's like really involved and like we got to go debug something, we don't necessarily have bandwidth to go that deep into items. And so that might be something where the support ticket's the right approach. The other thing I want to call out there is, again, the theme of this stream, Stump the Chump. I don't, we didn't know. We don't know everything. But it pushes us to try and go figure things out. So good.
Because I created a template, and when I would load the template up,
Yeah.
it would load the data. And then right at the top, it would say, you need to apply changes. After it loaded certain tables, and then there was like this one table that I had to click apply, then it would open the load window again and load that one. And it was some kind of dependency or something that I did that it couldn't load those tables until it loaded those. So it loaded the ones that I needed, and then it would say, okay, now press apply, and then it would load the other ones. And so I had some kind of dependency in my queries that it didn't work.
Nice. All right. So Kendall
But I'm
followed
gonna
up in
look
the
at it.
Kendall followed up in the
Yeah,
chat
go
saying
ahead.
that he was using a VBA script to connect to the Access database and then using the Excel spreadsheet as the data source. So you should not have to do that. If the VBA script in Excel can connect to the database, that means Power BI Desktop can connect to the database. Yeah. So you need to look at first off, why can't we use the Access data source inside of Power BI Desktop? My guess is you're getting some sort of error. It's going to be dependent on the ODBC drivers. So one thing to realize is that typically what I see come up in this area is Power BI Desktop is 64-bit. The driver that actually ships with Windows, I believe, is only the 32-bit driver, which means it's not going to work. So I would, the ACE driver that you can install for Office, there is a way to have both the 32-bit and 64-bit on the system at the same time. There's like a hidden switch that you can use for the MSI installer to force it. And so I did a blog on this a long time ago. So if you search for Saxton Access and 32-bit or 64-bit, like you should find it. So yeah, Kendall said it's the bitness error. Yep. So the problem is the 64-bit ACE driver isn't on your system, and Power BI Desktop is 64-bit. So there is a way on the ACE driver to force the install for 64-bit. So go look for that. I don't know what the switch is off the top of my head. It's been like 5-10 years since I've looked at that. So my brain is direct query, not import. So I gotta go search. So when you do search for it, go to Bing and put in Access 64-bit Saxton. You should find something. All right, Jeff. Let's do. Why do unlicensed users sometimes get prompted that they need a license when accessing content within a premium workspace? So this should say, why do free users, because they have to be licensed to get into, so they're non-pro users, why do they get prompted for, I've heard this before. People have made this comment, and I don't understand what the scenario is around that. I would absolutely call support on that. To me, that sounds like a bug, right? So if it's backed, if it's backed by premium content, now let me retract that a little bit. There are some features that are pro specific features that even if it's backed with premium content, I think you still require a pro license, or at least there used to be. So like the subscription. So like if I do a subscribe, that used to be like a pro feature only, even if it was backed by premium, but I think they fixed that a while back. So it would be interesting to know, like, what's the scenario that they try to find out and track, like what exactly did they do when they got that pro message, or when they got the thing for that you needed a pro license. It may be something like that, where there's some feature in there that's just triggering it, that, call support and try and advocate to get that changed if it's backed by premium. I think the general idea is if it's backed by premium, it shouldn't get that prompt, but there may be just a holdout in there somewhere. So, okay. All right. Cool. Parsuram. Is there an option to customize the way you send an email using Power BI service? No. Sorry. Now, one thing you could do is if you find some creative way to trigger something and then use like Power Automate to generate an email that you send and can configure that way. It's kind of a hack.
We did did that with one of the COVID projects we were working on. We used Power Automate. That's the only way.
Yeah. So Peter G, since we were talking about our gear, what kind of laptop specs would you recommend for someone that works with Power BI, Visual Studio, SQL Management Studio? Biggest thing, minimum 16 gig of RAM, maybe 32 gig of RAM, depending on what you're doing. Yeah. Patrick, your laptop, it's got 16 gig, right?
It's got 16 gigs.
And you do all that stuff. You do all that stuff.
I do all that stuff. I do all that stuff on this laptop.
Now,
it's an HP Spectre.
Yeah, it's an itty bitty machine.
Yeah, it is.
Or you could
perfect.
Yeah, go. It's perfect for.
It's perfect if you're on a airplane, which
my machine does not work on an airplane at all. So my laptop,
but it works though.
Yeah, I tend to go extreme on my side. I know Crystal's probably rolling her eyes right now. I tend to go extreme on things. So my laptop has 64 gig of RAM. It's like an 8 core. And so, Mark, thank you, buddy, for the super chat. So yeah, but I always go with a bananas type setup. I don't like, but as a result, my laptop, like on a plane, I just can't get it open unless I'm in first class, which is rare. Unless I get upgraded somehow. And then also on international flights, my laptop brick takes so much power that I can't charge it on airplanes because it shorts out the circuit. So yeah, don't do that.
16 gigs, man.
Yeah,
I run Management Studio. I run SQL Server. I got everything on this laptop, and it works.
Check the laptop too and see if you can upgrade it. Most of them, like if you find that 16 is not enough, you could probably upgrade it to 32 and fine. So
yeah.
All right, Oliver or Olivier, I don't know how you pronounce that. Is it possible to do the same for week number? This is going back to what you were showing with your DAX that you had in the beginning.
Yeah, you just gotta. But what? Like getting between weeks, or year to date with weeks? So that's the question. So yes, it's absolutely possible. You just have to extract out the week and get the start week and the end week, and then you would do. You can do a greater than equal to. Probably you can't use dates between because you need a date, but if you can do a greater than or equal to in the filter, and do that. That should work.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I may need to do a video on this.
Yeah. All right. Let me look for. Let's see. I'm just looking around. Our time is starting to run short. Alex Hicks has got a question here.
So fast.
Further to your great earlier videos for embedded, can you guys do some more related to JavaScript embedding in RLS? So Alex emailed me privately about some stuff. It was relating to RLS with embedded. So one thing of note, Patrick and I are working right now on getting out a row-level security course. So you can go to guyinacube.com courses. You can go to that and sign up to be notified when we release it. We're hoping for July 1st. The one thing we are not specifically covering in this course is the embedded scenario. We talked about it and we're like, that's like a whole thing, right? So I did provide some info. We could look at maybe doing a video on something there. That would be me, not Patrick.
Oh no, I don't have.
I do have some code that sets it up. It's all about the embed token, so you can supply the effective identities. The doc does have a code sample for it. Alex, I don't know that you responded specifically. I know you said you were going to try that out. I don't know if that's gets you what you need, but yeah. So cool. All right. Good. Let's see. Kim's got a question. Hey, Kim. Any tips for working with SharePoint? I have models that are connected to lists and some that are just pulling CSV files from SharePoint folders. Connection is so slow. Refresh times out sometimes. Yeah. Is SharePoint Online, SharePoint On-Prem? I know in general, when we hit the APIs for SharePoint, it can be slow.
Yeah, slow.
So it can be slow. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a way to necessarily speed it up outside of putting something in the middle that's like a warm layer, like a SQL Server or something that you've got it in there instead of SharePoint. So yeah, sorry. So Donald, sorry, I just saw this in the chat. So Donald mentioned, good point, Donald. I forgot about it. I do have a little bit of a spot in it as well. But they did release on the Power BI YouTube channel, this Developer in a Day was released. Peter Myers did the training course on that. I believe they go through the RLS stuff for embedding. So Alex, that's something you can check out as well. So cool. All right. Let's go through. Oh, Chris, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated, buddy. Where did it go? Oh, and Alex, thank you, Alex. Alex commented that the SharePoint connector is getting improved in September on the release wave, not the release notes. So yeah, now that he mentioned it, I do recall that. So yeah, maybe that'll help you out. It is a comment that a lot of people comment on in terms of performance. So all right, Mike's got one. Let's do this. I want to measure the login data of my clients. I have a client list that is changing on a monthly basis. The data table connects the client list and the logins. Do I look up the data via measure or column? So if we have a client list and then we've got data for logins, there's going to be a relationship there. Then that's a question of having a measure that's doing whatever type of aggregate you're looking for, right? A sum of some kind or average or whatever. So I would think as long as there's a relationship between them, you should be able to do a measure.
And it should just work.
Yeah. In terms of measure versus column, right? So I would question, why do you need a column? I mean, if we're just doing a certain type of aggregate, we should be able to get that from a measure perspective. Yep. Do a sum X. If you're thinking about a column for doing a sum of types, do a sum X or something like that iterates.
Yeah, look, he wants to count the clients that log in versus the ones that don't. You can totally do that.
You can totally do that in DAX.
Yeah.
Kim, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated.
Mike, you should use a measure to do that count, and you probably would use like a sum X, or you can do something like that. You can do a sum X and then do a count inside, do a filter to build like a virtual table inside the count. And so you would filter out the ones that hadn't logged in, and then you can have that, you can do it that way. But don't do a calculated column because it can be done in the measure. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So Jack's got a question. What does your typical work week look like? You mentioned working with customers, but you also say you don't do consulting. Those are both true statements. So our day job, so we have a day job outside of Guy in a Cube is like we do that on our own time. And which is why we don't do consulting, because we have a day job that sucks up a lot of our time. That's where we do this working with customers bit. And then outside of the day job, we do the Guy in a Cube video stuff. So like my weekends, early mornings, sometimes at night. And then Patrick, whenever he gets time to record and upload to a folder. So that's our
upload to a folder.
Yeah. And we've been doing that for a long time. So my wife is, both of our wives are very supportive of the Guy in a Cube stuff. So
Fortunately.
That's much appreciated. So,
yes.
Yep. So yeah, when we do the customer stuff, all that's on our day job. So, So Andre's got a good question. So please, some references to start with DAX. And I know someone in the chat mentioned it, but I always look for an opportunity. Definitive Guide to DAX. Get this book. It's from Marco Russo and Alberto Ferrari over at SQLBI.com. It is the book. Check out their website. They got a lot of great stuff out there as well. So
I'm reading it right now.
Cool.
I'm reading it right now.
Yeah. So
again.
All right. Heidi. How are you doing, Heidi? I got a question from you. I saw that you retracted something, so I don't know. In my tool, it's just there, so I don't know if you didn't need it anymore, but I'm going to throw it up anyway because you're awesome. Power BI desktop with analysis services multi-source. How do I get a hidden field? I'm guessing multidimensional. So I think from a multidimensional perspective, I think some of those things don't translate in, and so that's a limitation. I'm pretty sure that's I'm pretty sure that's a known limitation. So don't know that with multidimensional. I don't know that that's going to work. I'd have to try it though.
But I think the hidden column it's exposed in MDX. So if you're live connecting to it, you won't see it. But if you write the MDX to import it, you should be able to get to that column, Heidi, even if it's hidden. Just like DAX, right? If you hide a column, you still can.
Right. Well, what I'm saying though is that, within the model. So within the model, that's true. But I think if you do like a report level measure, I don't know that it's going to be able to work on the report level measure. So it would have to be done in the multidimensional source itself.
Yep. You are right. You are right, Adam.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
You're absolutely correct.
She had a follow-up. Hang on. So she said multi-attribute that is not available in perspective. Yeah, so perspectives aren't supported in Power BI. So I can copy a visual from another PBI file perspective, but it's how to get it in Power BI. Yeah, perspectives aren't supported.
They're not supported.
So sorry. Ideas.powerbi.com.
She's live. Yeah, she's live query. You won't be able to do it.
Yeah, on live. Yeah, perspectives are just one of those things on the multidimensional side that's not supported yet. Yeah. Hopefully someday. Yeah. All right. We are bumping up on the clock. Let me grab one more. I'm going to go one more. Venue. I just randomly grabbed one. How to... What?
I missed my question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. How to overcome BEX query to Power BI direct query limitation 50 dimensions. What is BEX?
I don't know what BEX is.
I don't know what BEX is. I guess it's a limitation on the connector regardless. And I don't know. I'm not familiar with that connector, so I don't know. Sorry.
I have no idea.
So all right.
It's SAP queries. Yeah.
Oh, ooh. I know we have a lot of limitations on that front. Not sure. Not sure. Sorry. So, alrighty. So next week. So Patrick, you are going to be in town next week. Yes.
As of today, yes.
As of today, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So we will do that. Crystal will not be here next week, so it will be fun. So, and then I'm going to be posting something. We're going to try something out new next week. We're going to try it. I'm still working out the details, so stay tuned on that. But thanks everyone for taking your time on a Saturday morning or afternoon, or for those folks in Australia, Heidi and others. Will, it's tomorrow for you. So thank you so much for hanging out. All right, guys, we love you, and we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.